Hello, I'm Jim Bergantz for Calaveras Community Television, and I'm here in Jamestown, California today with my guest Ron Boyd-Snee, and we're at the Jamestown Sanitary District, which takes care of the water issues in the small community of Jamestown. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Jim.
How you doing today?
Doing real well.
Great. And what do you guys do here at the Jamestown Sanitary District?
Well, first of all, we maintain the collection system. We will take the wastewater from the community, restaurants, residences, small businesses, and we collect that wastewater, and then it's piped to the treatment plant where we treat it under state regulations.
And that's probably quite a challenge these days.
Yes, it is. They are tightening up on the regulations all the time.
And the treatment process, once the water comes into this location, just a quick overview of what you do with the water.
It's a pretty simple operation. We have primary and secondary clarifiers. Their job is to settle out the sludges, if you will, that come into the treatment plant. Our secondary process, you can see in the background here, is what's known as a trickling filter. It's a very old process. It mimics actually the processes that take place in the stream, only we take Mother Nature, speed up the process right here at the treatment plant. So that is a biological process. It's known as a trickling filter.
Okay, so the water's just sprayed around on, looks like, what are those things, those circular things?
It's a plastic media, specially built. It contains about 50 times more surface area than rock. And we used to have river rock in there, which again mimics a stream, but that's much more efficient, provides much more surface area, and does a much better job.
So the water comes in and the first stop is here?
First stop is actually the primary clarifier, which is behind us. And again, it settles out the sludges. It also allows some of the floatables, greases, and things to come to the top where we can remove them. And so what you're seeing there is actually what they call a primary effluent. It's a clarified effluent, but still contains a lot of solids and things that need to be treated further.
Okay, and then from this step here, where does it go?
It'll go into a secondary clarifier again and remove the sludges. What happens here is the activity in that trickling filter, the algae, the different life forms will take that water as it passes over this media. It takes those constituents out of the water and uses it for food. So as those organisms get bigger, of course, they get heavier, they slough off, they become a sludge. So now we have a clarified water going into our secondary clarifier, and it does a really good job. There's just a myriad of what we call a zooglio mass in there. I couldn't tell you how many different organisms are in there doing the job.
And once the water has gone through that process, then what?
Well, then we're going to go ahead and put it into a pond. It's a polishing pond. It equalizes the flow. From there, we would disinfect with chlorine. And at that point, we have just the sludge to take care of, which we dewater. And then we have our final water, which we have to get rid of.
Now that is the challenge. Living in the foothills, small communities, small cities and towns have to deal with not only getting the water, which seems to be a big issue, a hot issue these days, but they also have to do something with it after we flush the toilet and put it down the drain. And you have a very creative solution for the final disposition of the water. Now, if you lived in a city like Sacramento or San Francisco, they seem to have a less of a challenge dealing with that water. Why is that?
Well, if you think about the topography and the locations of Sacramento and San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, they're near large bodies of water. Sacramento River, for example, and of course the Pacific Ocean in other cases. And so they have a very, very large body of water that they can discharge to. Of course, it's under permit and it is regulated. However, the dilution factor is there for them. Here in the foothills, it's not there. We don't have big rivers. We only have these little flashy seasonal streams to discharge to, which the state and the federal government really doesn't like us discharging.
So we have a challenge, don't we? What do we do with this water after we're all done with it at the sanitary district treatment facility? What are you going to do with it? Well, I'm here to share with you a great story. It's innovative, it's creative, and I'm excited. So we're going to go and see what Ron does with this water. So come along with us. Okay, we're at Quartz Reservoir here in Jamestown, and we're again with Ron Boyd-Snee of the Jamestown Sanitary District. Ron, what's happening here? What do we see here?
Well, we saw the treatment plant back in Jamestown. Our water is pumped here to Quartz Reservoir. And what you're looking at here is the spillover of unused water that comes from the communities of Jamestown, Columbia, Sonora, and even Twain Harte.
Okay, and again, what most cities do with the water, the effluent, the treated effluent, what do they do with it, and what are you doing here?
Well, a lot of times the cities will irrigate if they have some places that have agricultural uses around. They will irrigate out, but the real trick is the wintertime. What do you do with the water?
And here at this facility, you have a large reservoir?
Correct. Quartz reservoir will contain the water during the winter when we can't irrigate.
Okay, and how many gallons can be held here?
It's a considerable amount. I don't have the number right off the top, but it's a 400 acre-foot reservoir.
So it's an enormous amount of water. Alrighty, and typically the water is then held in the reservoir and then utilized throughout the community in terms of irrigation or other means of, I guess, dissemination of that water.
Correct. Most of the downstream users are in the cattle business. They use it for irrigating their land for feed.
Okay, and you've come up with a very creative solution here in Jamestown, and that's really what we're here to share with our viewers. Is what do you do here that's so different than I guess any other town, or is there any other districts in the area that are utilizing your technology, your idea?
Not to my knowledge, at least not on this scale.
Okay, and this idea is we're gonna show you what Ron does here, but this is certainly something that's available to any water district, right?
That's correct.
And the question is, how can they best utilize it to save money and to get rid of the water, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so tell us, you've been successful with this idea. Tell us a little bit about it. And behind us, I guess we can see the beautiful poplar trees.
Yeah, those trees started out as a small 9-inch stick planted into the ground and irrigated with our secondary treated effluent. And we plant somewhere between 600-800 trees per acre, so there's a very dense pack.
So it's a forest, right?
We call it more like an agroforest.
Agroforest, okay. Great, and why don't we go over there and take a little closer look at what you do with that water and talk about the trees, because the trees are more than just a way to utilize the water, right?
That's correct.
Wow. So there's one of these over here. Alrighty, here's the story, I guess, in pictures. We start out with a seedling in fall of 1998.
Actually, spring of 1999, we started tilling early in 98 and preparing the soil. And early in spring, we plant a 9-inch whip. It's just a cutting. And in that prepared soil, we can shove that cutting all the way into the ground with one lead bud showing. And you see here, it's a very small bud that starts out, so very tender, but it does grow very rapidly.
And of course, all it needs is what, sunlight and some water and some soil, right?
That's correct. Just from some good environment, and away it'll go. And you can see.
Alrighty.
You can see in July we already had a couple feet of growth, and again the small sticks sprouting really very nicely.
Yeah, and the trees looks like they're very healthy. They've got nice green leaves on them. They're growing. What else do we have here in the story, so to speak?
Well, as we progress along, you can see by the end of the year, we had a nice small little forest developing here. And here's one of my workers with a staff gauge showing that we had 12 feet in 1 year. So 10 to 12 feet is approximately what you'll get in height from these trees in a year.
So they just come right up out of the ground and grow.
Correct.
And they're suited for this environment, right?
They seem to do real well. Different clones do better than others, and that's one of the things we did with this project, to see which ones were the best suited for this area.
So these are hybrid poplars?
That's correct. They're made for special purposes, for pulp or veneer or for saw log. They all have a different purpose.
So what you're doing is you're growing a forest for harvest.
That's correct. Not only get rid of the water, but hopefully a product after that.
Wow, and here's September 2000.
Yeah, you can see, if you look real closely, there's my man inside there with his tractor completely engulfed with this new forest. We're mowing in there for weed suppression. And then the bottom here, you can see the diameter is about 7 to 8 inches at the butt for the first year's worth of growth.
So 1 year, 8 inches in diameter, 12 feet. Just about, that sounds like a tree that we need.
It does do well here.
Okay, and what else do we have there?
Well, you know, one of the things we try to do is start to look at marketing. So we had selective cuts done. You can see the saw ear here in the trees. We did this in the wintertime when the leaves are off. We selected trees that that were straight, were tall, and had a good diameter that would be suitable for a mill. You can see the load of logs going to the mill. And on the next page, you see that the butt cut was about 13 inches in diameter, and it went to a local mill. Very simple mill with a wood miser mill, which recovers wood very efficiently. And you can see the mill worker putting the trees into the mill.
And we have some samples of some of that wood, so let's take a break and we'll grab that and show the folks what you actually did with the wood.
Okay.
Alrighty, we're in the poplar forest, and here are some of the wood products that were milled, and talk a little bit about of their attributes. I'm surprised the strength and the lightweight character of this wood. Tell us a little bit about the wood and what it could be used for.
Well, like you said, it's lightweight. It's very strong. You'll see furniture products made out of this wood, both finished wood and sometimes interior. For example, chairs or couches, etc., that use wood for the interior framing. This is a light, durable wood. Can be used for that. You see here that I have a box, simple box that was made. One of the nice things about this wood is it doesn't have any odor.
Now, no odor means that the wood product could be used for packaging a number of different things. And one of the things that comes to mind is, what about gift packages of wine? We're in the wine country. What about the wineries using this wood with some fancy gift kind of concept?
Absolutely. It lends itself very well to that. And again, remember, it is lightweight but very durable. So if people are going to ship and they're paying per pound to ship, they can shave a little bit of weight off of that, and if they're shipping large quantities, remember that they're taking off maybe several pounds, maybe even tons of weight when they ship products.
Now, Ron, I'm a big fan of IKEA. I don't know if you know about IKEA?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you shop there too?
I have, yes.
Well, I love the place, and one of the ways that they're so successful is by looking at how to cut costs. And I know that the wood that they use must have some of these similar attributes. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't use poplar, because they're very creative and forward thinking, and they do a good job of producing a product at a lower cost and working. So I bet they're using poplar, and the question is, why aren't we doing that here?
That is a good question. They do use a lot of poplar. In fact, once you see this wood and you look at its characteristics, its grain, and its weight, and once you start looking at the other wood products that are out there on the market, you'll see a lot of them are popular.
Okay, the trees are receiving the effluent, the treated effluent, and a drip system, I would imagine, is what you use. Talk a little bit about what you figured out there and how that works.
Well, in part to make this more efficient, we went to a dripper system, and you can see here there's some emitters on tubing, and these are a special non-clog system that doesn't require a lot of filtration. If you look out here, there's no power. We run this entire system off of 9-volt batteries and drip at a time. What makes this more efficient is not only are we able to deliver the water to the tree in an efficient manner, but we're able to get closer to property lines, to irrigation ditches, and etc. The requirements for, say, spray, if you were to put sprinklers out here, is a 50-foot setback from a property line. With the dripper, we can get as close as 5 feet.
So you can precisely deliver the water.
We can not only precisely deliver it, we can actually deliver it over a bigger area. For example, this is a 30-acre piece of property. If we were to use spray irrigation, we would lose 8 acres because of setbacks. With this system here, we lost theoretically 1 acre, but we really didn't lose the 1 acre. If you look at the canopy, this is what's taking your water, is the canopy. The dripper is inside at its proper setback, but the tree grows out into that setback area. So in essence, we've lost no ground at all because of state requirements for setbacks.
Wow, that's cool.
We think so.
Marketing the wood, I guess that's one of the challenges that a district would have, would be not only to have a forest, but also to figure out how to connect the dots and market it.
That's correct, and we're working on that. Remember, though, we are a wastewater collection and treatment entity. Marketing is something that most of us don't get into, so that's a real challenge for us to try to create that market.
So what we need to do is call out to the community and say, hey, we've got this great product, we've got this great opportunity, we need you to see what you could do to utilize or harvest this this product.
Absolutely, and think about the mills that have problems getting product from the forest, both because of environmental challenges, because of weather, because of distance, where they can't be profitable. I don't see why these mills couldn't convert using a product that's grown right here and put people back to work.
Why wouldn't a district plant acres and acres, hundreds of acres of these trees and create that kind of opportunity?
I think it's a little bit in the early stages yet. People are a little unsure. Remember, there are a lot of requirements that the state and the federal government put on agencies to prove they can handle the wastewater. And this is a technology that is not well accepted in terms of there's not a lot of knowledge out there. So when an agency comes in with this project, they may be met with some skepticism, have to prove. The more conventional approaches sometimes are more acceptable, even though they're more costly.
And Ron, who else is on the cutting edge like Jamestown?
I know of only one other that has gone to this scale, and that's Woodburn, Oregon.
Wow, so you in Oregon pretty much. So there's a whole lot of effluent being produced around the state of California, around the nation, that opportunities certainly exist. How much, just for fun, how much water do these trees use?
You can do a real rough estimate of 20 gallons per day per tree during the peak irrigation season.
Okay, and the tree is ready for production and harvest in what, 8 years?
Yeah, the typical rotation is 7 to 8 years, depending on what you're going to use it for.
And during the winter, are you able to dump the water on the trees there pretty effectively?
No, they go dormant, and that's why we have the reservoir for storage.
Okay, so you store it in the winter, and then the summer is when you gobble it up.
Go like crazy.
Alrighty. How long do the trees live?
Well, these trees here, again, we're hybrid poplars. They're not made to be a long-standing tree, so 10 to 12 years is probably their limit, and they should be harvested. What we have to do is remember there are nutrients in the water, like I said. Those nutrients are taken up into the tree. Now you need to take that tree out because it's got nutrients and it's turned it into a carbon source, and so they need to be removed so they can be replanted and start all over again.
So the trees could not only be harvested for wood, but they could be replanted, or could be, how does that work?
Yeah, you can replant it fairly easily. It goes rather quickly. Again, the 9-inch stick with an irrigation system installed. A little bit of pest control. You have to watch out for deer and other mice and things that can give you some damage, but other than that, they're fairly easy to grow.
Alrighty, and the trees really do help Jamestown take care of its wastewater. So, what we've seen today is there's a lot of benefits to utilizing this, and a lot of opportunity. So, any other things we wanted to share today? I wanted to talk a little bit about the great school that we have here, the Columbia College, and what they're doing to kind of help grow this industry. Is wastewater grow? I guess it is a growing. We got a lot more stuff. We're needing water. We're growing as a population. So talk a little bit about the connection with Columbia College.
Well, Columbia College has been really receptive to our project. The classes do come out here and do tours. We also started a class through Tom Hofstra at the college for wastewater operators. So we're really excited about that. The industry is suffering from a lack of operators. Folks like me are getting ready to retire. New people need to move into the business, and we're glad to be able to start to provide that opportunity through training.
Yeah. So what we have is this problem of water, finding it, getting it, taking good care of it. Then once it's used or in our homes, then what do we do with it? And this is going to become, this is an industry that's growing, and there's more opportunities there every day. And what Jamestown is doing is a very creative solution. They've grown a forest of poplar trees, and started in 1999. So what we're here to do is to share that with you, and to encourage you to find out more about it. Now, how could people learn more about this technology, this concept? Where would they go?
Well, they can always call us, and we can share what we know about that. Web search, of course, is very useful. Looking at the Woodburn project, there's various sources. This is not a new technology in Europe. It's been done for a while, so we've grabbed a lot of information from other folks worldwide to do this.
So there you are, Europe, IKEA. Obviously this opportunity certainly exists for us. So thank you, Ron, for sharing this today. And we'd encourage you to Google poplar tree projects, or get a hold of Ron over at the Jamestown Sanitary District, and maybe we can flash that number up on the screen. Or you could give Tom Hofstra a call over at the Columbia College. They are doing some creative stuff, and they have some new classes, right? That's right.
Their watershed management has just really taken off, and Tom is extremely good, and I really enjoy working with him.
Yeah, I met him recently. He's a passionate guy. So get a hold of Tom or get a hold of Ron, and learn more about this, and see if you can take this dream that you have. It is a dream.
Yes.
Yeah, and a passion, and do something with the poplar trees, and help grow this concept. Trees are great. I mean, trees give back so much to the environment, and the fact that you're growing a bunch of them here is just an awesome thing. So thank you, Ron.
Thank you.